down biz. So, I decided to do a stream because, basically I wanted to, talk some boxing. So it appears that Tank had a online conversation with your realness, the Sheik, Turkey a la Sheik. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name up. And, they brought up the conversation about the two Ferraris and being delivered to Tank's door. And he basically said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you two gloves to come here and fight. And then Tank basically responds by, oh, I don't need you. I never needed you. At the end of the day, yeah, Tank, fine. Tank doesn't want to fight Devin Haney. We can't force him to fight Devin Haney. But at the same time, as media people, we have the right to critique Tank's opponent selection, and we can say whatever we want to say. So the same way Tank can voice his opinion, in the same way that his fans can support him and excuse him for questionable opponent selections, we have the right to give our opinion. At the end of the day, it just looked like it's the same trail that Floyd went on when it came to opponent selection. Floyd fought tough opponents, but in all likelihood, he fought the guys that he knew unequivocally, for the most part, that he thought he could beat. The stuff that went on in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s about the best fighting the best, and, wanting to secure their legacy, as basically saying they fought any and all comers, that appears to be gone. These guys have basically been brainwashed. I ain't gonna say brainwashed. They all have the Floyd mentality, where basically they want to have the least amount of competitive fights that favors them and their style. Because at the end of the day, the most lucrative fight out there for Tank Davis is Devin Haney. Even in the States, the audience is there, the money is there, and the pay-per-view ship is there. Devin versus Tank will do over 1 billion buys if marketed right. But as I said before, we all know the pattern with Floyd. We all know the pattern with the PBC. They don't like to give brothers paydays. They like to procrastinate. They like to play these games. Look how long it took to basically make Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. Now, if you take out, what I'm saying, the year that we had, the demic year, it could have got made in 2021. Could have got made in 2022. Didn't get made till 2023. And it was excuse after excuse after excuse why this fight couldn't get made. And it got nauseating, a lot of finger pointing. And then it got to the point to where when it finally happened, it lost its lackluster. It lost its luster, where it could have did more than what it did. But we all know what happened with it. No need to rehash. I'll talk about that on a later date. But just looking at Tank and how he moving, it just comes across as he throwing temper tantrums. And, the thing is, when you call guys like Tank out and you say stuff about them, when they see you, they get an attitude. But they supposed to be so street savvy. They say, oh, I ain't doing no interview with you because you said something about me and all this kind of stuff. It's just getting to the point to where, even as media people, a lot of these fighters want you to kiss their ass. They don't want you to challenge them. They love you until they don't love you. And then when you critique them, and it could just be, it just could be a simple critique. And then all of a sudden they say you against them. They say you are, a D rider. They say you this, they say you that. They like you until you criticize them. And this is what's been going on with Tank. Tank, he'll listen to these interviews and he'll say, hey, I ain't doing an interview with this dude, or don't credential this dude to come to my fight. But then these dudes talk like they just so tough. My thing is with Tank, they the one that put this out about Devin Haney. He can't sell tickets. He can't punch. He can't do this. I can't leave my house anyway to go fight in Saudi Arabia. I'm on house arrest. But then you talking about you going to the UK to fight. Last time I checked, the UK is overseas. And last time I checked, you need a passport to go overseas to the UK. So what's the difference between fighting in the UK versus fighting in Saudi Arabia? They were the ones that put these notions out about, oh, we don't fight for belts. We fight for money. But then when you get offered a lucrative deal, then you saying, hey, nobody tells me what to do. Then when you say you don't fight for belts, then come to find out you want to fight a certain fighter for a belt. After saying nobody's going to make you do what you don't want to do. So at the end of the day, it just sounds weak. It sounds weak. But Tank is following the blueprint of Floyd Mayweather, and Canelo is doing it as well. And we just have to tell the truth, whether we want to hear the truth or believe the truth. And then I do think another problem is the fanism, the fanboys. At the end of the day, I just want the best fights to be made. They can be made. You can get through the so-called red tape and make certain fights happen. At the end of the day, Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, Frank Warren, they're doing business whether they like each other or not. But then you hear this thing with Al Heyman. Oh, I don't want to, I don't want this guy to cross over and fight on this promotional card because this happened, that happened, and then the fans say, well, they tried to sue Al Heyman saying he was running a monopoly. So that's all the excuse. And see, that's the problem. You guys like to give people an excuse. The tail of the tape don't lie. The box recs don't lie. That PBC fighters have not fared well when they fought outside of the PBC brand. They have a losing record. But they supposed to be the cream of the crop, promotional company, television show, whatever you want to call it. And the game that they like to run is, here's the thing, and this is the honest to God truth. Even if Tank and Devin were to fight, in all likelihood, because of his power, because Tank has like a 92, 93% knockout ratio, in all likelihood, Tank would be the favorite versus Devin Haney. Now, I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it truthful. But here's the thing. He could be the favorite, but that don't mean he's going to win. So what happens if Tank doesn't win? And Al Heyman is predicated on, basically selling undefeated fighters. Now you see he ain't in the Errol Spence as he once was. At the end of the day, he wanted to keep Errol Spence undefeated until he fought Canelo. He told him not to take the Bud fight. He didn't listen. Now the fight finally happened. Bud demolished Errol Spence. No matter how many excuses these people want to make for whatever happened with Errol Spence getting demolished, and Errol Spence wasn't taking care of himself. That's his problem. Errol doing stuff he didn't have outside. That's his problem. Errol Spence had issues making weight. That's his problem. It's not Errol Spence didn't train properly. That's his problem. It's not Bud's job to make sure Errol Spence properly trains, conditions himself. All Terrence Crawford's job is to do when that bell rings, do whatever it takes to have his hand raised when the fight is concluded, whether it's by knockout or whether it goes to the cards. That's all Terrence. And people like putting up these fake narrative videos like Terrence Crawford is supposed to, babysit Errol Spence. Hey, Errol, you taking care of yourself? Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. Hey, Errol, you taking care of yourself? Errol, you properly training? That ain't Bud's job. But you had a lot of these dudes that were sitting up here acting like it was Bud's job to make sure Errol Spence properly trained, made weight. No, that's not Bud's job. It's not his job. That's Errol Spence's camp, and that's his team, and that's his trainers to make sure he come into camp and properly train and up to fight night that he be ready to fight. If Errol Spence don't be ready to fight, hey, that's on him. And it doesn't matter whether he had a broke rib, whether his eye wasn't working. At the end of the day, he got demolished to the point to where Showtime really didn't want to do it again. He got demolished to the point to where most people with common sense don't want to see the fight again, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what weight Errol Spence comes in. If he fight Bud, he gonna get his ass whooped again. And people can make all the excuses that they want. it's going to be the same fight, same results, except this time it may go, it may last only 5 rounds versus the 8 or 9 rounds that it went. And a lot of people are just out of touch with reality, and they just need to accept it and respect it. And stop trying to baby Errol Spence and protect Errol Spence. No, Errol Spence's eye was messed up. Nobody had a problem with Errol Spence fighting Kell Brook, who had a messed up eye, who wasn't in shape or wasn't ready to go, who was still a little bit damaged from the Triple G fight. But y'all gave Errol Spence all the credit in the world. But then soon as it's Bud fight him, then the excuses come. Then soon as Errol Spence get demolished by Terrence Crawford, then you want to go on the Errol Spence sympathy train when you guys were the same ones that said all we wanted was for the fight to get made and may the best man win. And when your guy didn't win, you started coming up with all these excuses, putting you know what I'm saying, AF out there, artificial facts about Terrence Crawford, and you know who the main culprit was. A lot of these goofy least attorney looking dudes and these fake large professor looking niggas, y'all were the ones continuing to push narratives, calling Terrence Crawford a cheat and all this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, I know some of y'all catering to the PBC. You ain't getting the job with the PBC. So I don't know why you sitting up, sucking up to the PBC, because you ain't going to get no damn job. And it just needed to be said. But anyway, I digress a little bit, but getting back to Tank, like I said before, Tank looking real weak out here. He's acting like a spoiled brat, and he's, you know what I'm saying? And the way he just responds, oh, I don't need you. Okay, cool. You keeps talking about, well, ain't nobody gonna make an offer to Tank, but Tank was the one that said, hey, $20 million ain't good enough for me. I'm past the point of $20 million. I'm doing these type of numbers on pay-per-view. Let's just cut the shit. Tank only had one pay-per-view that sold over 1 million pay-per-views. Now, if he was doing this on a consistent basis, because to me, Tank still ain't where he's supposed to be. Because the demands that Tank is making at the end of the day, he ain't at Floyd Mayweather level. He don't have a Manny Pacquiao or even a Conor McGregor on his resume. Let's keep it a buck. Say what you want to say about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather fought and beat a shitload of Hall of Famers. You name one Hall of Famer to this point, first ballot Hall of Famer that Tank has fought thus far. I'll wait. That's what I thought. So let's just keep it a buck. Stop playing games with me. You know who you talking to. You know who you talking to. You know who it is. You know what it is. I come with the real. I just came with facts. But nobody don't want to hear that because people don't want to hear the truth. So that's the difference between Tank and Floyd. He ain't even remotely close to being where Floyd is. Okay, you have one pay-per-view that exceed expectations. So now you trying to talk like you Floyd when you ain't. Okay, so let's see what the next pay-per-view do. See, you got to be on the, you have to constantly keep selling pay-per-views to start talking like how Floyd and Manny Pacquiao and Oscar De La Hoya was talking, and even Mike Tyson. Because keep in mind, Mike Tyson was selling 1 million pay-per-views for the most part every time he fought. So was Manny Pacquiao. So was Floyd Mayweather. So they had earned the right. Okay, Tank, you got lucky. You hit 1 million. But let's see what the next fight do. And now that they on Amazon Prime, it's no real way to indicate what Tank is doing on pay-per-view or what he's going to do. We all know in all likelihood they're going to you know what I'm saying, enhance the numbers, because they were enhancing the numbers when they were fighting on premium cable TV. Like I said before, if Tank and Errol Spence and all them other dudes was doing the numbers they was supposed to be doing and what was being reported, they would still have TV deals. But nobody wants to hear that because you got these dudes that sit up here and lie. But I guess the more untruthful you are, the more subscribers you're going to get, the more delusional you sound. But then again, that seems to be the way of the world. The more you lie and deceive people, the more followers you get. But then again, you live in a world of deception. You know what I'm saying? That's how Jim Jones led all them people to doom. So there you have it. So I'm just saying this about Tank. Tank need to stop the cap. Okay, he need to stop it. Just say at this point you ain't ready to fight Devin Haney, and just say the fight will happen eventually. But at the end of the day, if Tank has a mishap or a hiccup, then it's gonna be back to square one. And see, that's the thing with the Al Heyman PBC brand. They want these dudes to sell fights based off the fact that they haven't lost. But the problem is, okay, who have you beat? And that's the problem that's going on with Tank. This is why it's debatable on whether people think Tank is a top 10 pound per pound fighter. Yeah, they do. So they do, KP. They do. What's up, Mark? Hey Mark, I'll be there Wednesday. I'll be at the I will be at the arena around my plane get in Wednesday at around 9 a.m. I'm gonna try to go check in early to the hotel, but I should be there Wednesday around I'll be at the Michelob Ultra Arena around 11:30ish. But that's the game plan. That is the Al Heyman brand. Yeah, Tank has been marketed good, but I'm gonna tell you what the real thing is. Tank is really being marketed through Floyd Mayweather because he was Floyd Mayweather's protege, and this is why you used to always see Tank and Floyd standing next to each other. Because for some reason, people think when they watch Tank fighting, Tank is an exciting fighter. Doesn't talk as much as Floyd does, but Tank does provide knockouts. And basically they use Floyd to build up Tank. And then to a certain degree, that's how Tank built up the fan base because his alignment with Floyd. And you can still see that Floyd comes to Tank's fights. But you see what Floyd did to Devin Haney, where he basically finessed Ryan Garcia, and I don't want to call Ryan Garcia out of his name, but he got finessed by Floyd and now is back to square one, trying to revisit the Devin Haney fight. Now I know what's going on. I'll put it to you this way. Don't make plane reservations and hotel reservations just yet. Hold on, because there's always a second option. And that's what Bill does. He makes sure that there's a plan B, a plan C, and possibly a plan D. Because Bill do not want Devin sitting up at home fighting a year in between fights when he at his peak. Bill wants Devin to fight at least 2 to 3 times a year. So at the end of the day, they may not get the ideal opponent, but they trying to stay active. At the end of the day, they want Tank, but they can't make Tank fight. And I'm going to say this once again, as a media member, yeah, Tank can fight whoever he wants to fight. But at the same time, he can't throw a temper tantrum and get an attitude and say, I ain't talking to y'all. I ain't doing interviews with y'all because y'all criticize me and y'all be talking about me. At the end of the day, it's kind of pathetic. It's kind of pathetic. But then you supposed to be affiliated with the streets. You know what I'm saying? That's a sign of weakness. Because when you really in the streets, when you moving the weight and all that kind of stuff, if your competitors, if your ops think you weak and you got a hot block that's making a lot of dough, well, guess what? If they think you weak, guess what they're going to try to do? They're going to try you. They're going to try to snatch that block from you in street terms. And Tank ain't looking like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't looking too street savvy. He should be saying, oh, eventually I'm going to fight Devin Haney, but I'm going to fight him when I get ready to, and I'm going to whoop his ass. Oh, well, they done made me mad. How dare they offer me $20 million up front? So I'm just saying, if you want to talk about how Tank got the streets, well, he looking like a dude that can get his block snatched. If you want to be on some real street shit, I mean, if you want to get technical, that's how Tank's sounding. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Devin got a lot of options out there. Devin got quite a few options. He got Broner, he got Ryan Garcia, he got Jose Ramirez, he got Jack Catterall. I mean, worst come to worst, he could go back to Top Rank and do another 2 or 3 fight deal, possibly fight Josh Taylor. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Bill was talking to Conor Ben. You know, that's an option if Devin decides to move up to full-fledged welterweight. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to shake hands, you know what I'm saying? Stay in contact with people and stay, you know what I'm saying? And stay in good terms with people. And stop trying to disrespect people and talk as if people is under you like Tank. But it just comes to the same old with the PBC. You know what I'm saying? Anybody but the brother. You may have one dude, but then you don't want him to fight another dude that look like each other. We know what the PBC do. They've been doing this. So there you have it. They would all sell. They would all sell. At the end of the day, you need the right dance partner. You know, you need the right dance partner. It's been proven it doesn't matter how much talent that you have and how good you are. If you don't have the right look and the right people backing you up, people ain't gonna be interested. It's just like it's like everything. It's like sports. It's like music. There's somebody out there that we may never see who could be just as good as Calvin Johnson, one of the greatest wide receivers that ever played the game. There's somebody out there that could sing just as good as Luther Vandross or could sing just as good as Patti LaBelle, but we may never see them because they don't have the right backing. They don't have the right people behind them. There's somebody out there that could probably play basketball, or there's somebody out there that's just as good as LeBron James, but due to the fact they don't have the right people backing them. It's not about the talent pool. It's about how you're marketed. Let's just be completely honest. See, I'm saying what a lot of people are afraid to say. You won't hear nobody say this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, boxing is a business. It's a sport. It's a business first, sport second. So that's what they mean when they say boxing is a business. But at the same time, you can have a such thing as being hesitant to participate in certain activities. There is something that Tank see that he do not like in Devin Haney. But keep in mind, these dudes know each other. They've sparred together, and it's something that Tank knows that we don't know that makes him hesitant to get in the ring. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think the way that Devin whooped on Regis Prograis, keep in mind, this is a dude that a lot of people ducked. Jose Ramirez was ducking Regis Prograis for years. A lot of people ducked Regis. And I think when they saw how one-sided and how Devin blew through Regis Prograis, I think that shocked a lot of people. Oh, they would sell if they decided to fight Regis at the Save Mark Center. The Save Mark Center the Save Mark Center is a pretty big facility. At capacity, I think it can hold 15,000. So that fight would sell out. And I could tell you right now, people would drive from the Bay Area, so it would be split right down the middle. And of course, Devin would be the A side. Devin would be the A side. So he has options. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. I'll be back with more later on. It's your boy Tan. I'm out.